or they're kind of these ball shapes that look very bodily, but they don't have a body. There are no limbs, there's no flesh.
A work of art can tell a different story to every viewer, but the artist usually has her own story behind the work. Andrea Coates certainly does.
When I was young, I was a ballerina, was kind of always on a stage in a way, and my dad would take me to this place in Covington, Kentucky that sold wigs and masks and costumes. So every now and then that was the treat to go buy a new wig. And at the time I didn't really consider that as leading into my art practice, but definitely now as an adult, I see that as an influence. I see them as self-portraits. Just because, like I said, they come from my life experiences. So, for example, like the piece that's covered, I've got a lot of necklaces. Actually, all those necklaces were my grandmother's. A few are mine. So there's this element of, again, like bringing back that moment in photography that's no longer there. Now I'm bringing in an actual object that was owned by someone in my family that's no longer here. So for me, one thing is being authentic to myself and my experience. And about 6 years ago, I went through a pretty traumatic experience of someone stalking me with communication, and he was a total stranger. And it was one of those things where I was always an outgoing person, and with social media happening around the same time, having photos everywhere. So I went through this period where I took all of my social media down. I took any photo that had my face in it, gone. So in grad school, I started thinking about that experience and started getting interested in other people's selfies, which sounds weird. It's like now I'm the one kind of being the voyeur, but just looking at other people putting themselves out there, that kind of intrigued me since I was doing the opposite. So I made this series of prints that basically were from other people's selfies, but I covered them up. So it was kind of like me wanting to put myself out there, but also just completely covering up and not wanting to be seen. Kind of getting back to the social media aspect, people curate their lives on social media. It's like a certain kind of version of a reality that you present yourself. And thinking along those lines with fashion photography too, and advertising photography, it's like nothing's really real. I became interested in kind of creating my own version of that in a way. So I would take these photos of different hair, my grandmother's necklaces, different fabric that I own, and slice them up and collage them together into something that doesn't exist. So the photographs that you see, my photo collages, are not real. They're photos, but since they're 10 different photos collaged into one image, it's like a version of a reality. I have never had the intention of selling my work. So for me, success is knowing that I feel good about what I'm making, that I'm not confused by what I'm making, because I've definitely been there when I've been making things and just looking at the result and just it doesn't click with what I'm feeling. So when what I'm making and the end result, I feel good about it, it feels authentic. To me, that's what success is.
To see more of Andrea's work, visit AndreaCoates.com or find Andrea Coates on Instagram.